You don't think Michael Myers...
I never found his body.
Yeah,
What the f*** do you think you're doing?
Mom, I'm really uncomfortable with you saying that
Well,
word.
then don't put me in the position, John.
He's dead. Michael Myers is dead.
It's Frankenstein. We could have watched the movie.
The Halloween franchise by 1997 had spawned 6 films. Laurie Strode's storyline had ended in Halloween 2 with Michael Myers' death. In the third installment, John Carpenter attempted to take the franchise in a new direction, beginning with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Hey!
Carpenter believed that the Halloween series had the potential to be an anthology series that centered around the night of Halloween, with each sequel containing its own characters, setting and storyline, with each of these films potentially creating their own sequel. The absence of Michael Myers ultimately turned audiences away, and after Season of the Witch flopped, Carpenter abandoned the project. The next film would reintroduce Michael Myers to the franchise and would be appropriately titled Halloween 4 The Return of Michael Myers.
He's here to kill that little girl and anybody who gets in his way.
The next 3 films would later become known as the Thorn Trilogy, in which Michael's backstory is explained. As a child, the curse of Thorn was placed on Michael by a cult leader. It commands that a child kill his entire family as a blood sacrifice to keep the cult alive. It also makes that child able to withstand serious injuries that would result in death for any normal human being. With the 20-year anniversary of the first film, it was decided to scrap the Curse of Thorn storyline and instead make a sequel that carries on from the timeline of Halloween 1 and 2, with Jamie Lee Curtis reprising her role as Laurie Strode. 20 years since the events of the first film, Laurie Strode has faked her own death and started a new life as a headmistress with her son in Summer Glen, California. However, the events from 1979 still haunt her, and she lives her life in an alcoholic haze in fear that her brother may return for her. Meanwhile, after burglarizing and butchering a nurse along with some neighborhood kids, Myers finds Laurie's files and draws closer to her whereabouts. As the Halloween season draws closer, a sense of dread weighs down on Laurie. With her son being the same age as she was when the murders took place in 1978, Laurie prepares for the inevitable. In an attempt to compete with the popularity of Scream, Kevin Williamson was hired by Dimension Films to write a script. Williamson had first written a script titled I Know What You Did Last Summer, but had little interest. Next, he wrote a script about a movie-obsessed killer stalking and murdering teens in a peaceful California town. Originally titled Scary Movie, the name was later changed to Scream. Following the massive success of Scream in 1997, Columbia Pictures rushed to buy Williams' first script, I Know What You Did Last Summer. He also went on to write Scream 2, The Faculty, Scream 4 and Dawson's Creek. He will serve as an executive producer on the 5th installment of the Scream franchise. Williamson originally planned to reference the previous trilogy, but scrapped the idea, discarding the Thorn Curse storyline. John Carpenter was originally in negotiations to be the director since Jamie Lee Curtis wanted to reunite the cast and crew of the original. He had agreed to direct the movie, but his starting fee as director was $10 million, and he wanted a free picture deal with Dimension Films. When Arcad and Dimension Films' Weinstein brothers barked at Carpenter's demands, he walked away from the project. Steve Miner, who previously directed Friday the 13th Parts 2 and 3, would go on to direct H20. Jamie Lee Curtis originally wanted Laurie's life to be in a shambles at the start of the film. Kevin Williams convinced her that Laurie should have more to lose. Most of the film was shot on stage 24 on the back lot at Universal Studios, which is located right by where the studio tour tram ride starts. Throughout the film, Williams makes constant references to Scream. On the television in the girls' room, a clip from Scream 2 is playing, a callback to numerous Halloween references and clips in Scream. Before Charlie goes up in the dumbwaiter, he says, "I'll be right back." As explained in Scream, written by Halloween H20 scriptwriter Kevin Williamson, this is a cardinal sin in horror films.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, say, "I'll be right back."
Janet Leigh from Psycho has a small cameo in the film. She is, in real life, Jamie Lee's daughter, and in the film she can be seen getting into the same car featured in the 1960 classic.
Oh, Miss Tate, happy Halloween.
This was the shortest Halloween movie in the series, with a runtime of 86 minutes. The murdered teenagers at the beginning were watching Ed Wood's Plan 9 from outer space.
You see, your stupid mind.
Jimmy!
When Jamie Lee Curtis' character says, "Go down the street to the Beckers," this was supposed to refer to the line from Halloween, "Go down to the street to the Mackenzie's house." The name was changed to Becker, which was the last name of Drew Barrymore's character in Scream. During the credits in the prologue, Dr. Samuel J. Loomis' dialogue from the first film about Michael's incarceration is heard. The studio was unable to retrieve the unmixed audio from the original scene to reuse and were forced to use voice actor Tom Kane to imitate Donald Pleasance. One of the main criticisms by fans was that Michael can be seen wearing two different masks. The director decided well into production to go with a different mask, so certain scenes were reshot. Some scenes with the original mask can still be seen, and in one shot it had to be altered with CGI to replace Michael's old mask with the new one. Curtis said in the commentary track for the film that as far as she is concerned, the movie starts at 1 hour 9 minutes 28, when Laurie sends the kids for help but stays behind to face off against Michael. There was at one time a plan for Michael Myers to speak a single line at the end of the movie. He was to have said "Laurie" just before being beheaded by Jamie Lee Curtis. The idea was dropped from the final script. A subplot involving two detectives was cut from the script. Remnants of the characters remain at the start of the picture, when two random detectives are talking in the home office of Stephen's home. Halloween H20 was released on August 5, 1998. Until the release of the 2018 film Halloween, H20 was the highest grossing film in the franchise. The film grossed a worldwide total of $75 million. Though successful financially, H20 garnered mainly negative reviews on release, Roger Ebert giving it 2 stars out of 4. No official soundtrack was ever released for the film, but a compilation album by John Ottman was released in the United States and Germany and includes the original score by Ottman and numerous other cuts. In recent years, Halloween H20 has not been held in high regard, though I prefer this film to any other in the franchise.
It's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.